everyone, and welcome to the SwiftCase Productivity Podcast. My name's Adam Sykes, from the founder of SwiftCase, the professional productivity platform, and today we've got with us
Craig McCarthy, development manager at SwiftCase.
I'm Phil Whitby, developer at SwiftCase.
Okay, great. So in one of our previous episodes, we got talking about social media and the effects it might have on anxiety, especially in young people, as we were talking about how they've grown up around filming and maybe it's given them a natural presence in front of cameras that maybe our generations didn't have. But also we were thinking, like, it's recently been Mental Health Awareness Week in the UK, and we were just thinking about maybe we'd like to expand on that topic a bit further, really.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of stems from what Phil said about, kids growing up in front of the camera, and I think that's it's an advantage I've never really thought about before, where it gives them the ability and the confidence perhaps to perform, which is fantastic, really, because I know myself, I didn't really get exposed to a camera, like a video camera, until I did media studies in GCSE, and it was quite novel to me, and I was quite nervous in front of the camera. Whereas you've got kids now that are going on Instagram at 10. I know I've got a few friends who've got little sisters and little brothers, and they're all Instagram people, and they've got more followers than me. And it's like, what are they doing? That's so good. My dog picture's not enough.
Well, I think we joined that social media revolution at an age, or I certainly did, when my network had decreased. Whereas kids are joining, and then they're all following each other at school.
Well, that's the big thing.
It's like at least 150 people in their year, and then potentially outside of that.
Yeah.
They end up with a huge default audience that comes like fixtures loaded in there.
Yeah, it's like you join secondary school, and then by default, you've got thousands of friends.
Exactly.
Because everyone from the school has added each other.
But I think that's a key point, and that's something probably we grew up. We actually had real friends, if you like. I mean, I remember I was at the age where kind of Facebook was kind of coming out when I was just starting university, so it was quite late on. There was Friends Reunited or something like that came first.
Did you ever have Bebo?
Bebo. No, I remember Bebo was like what the younger kids had when we were at university. When we were at university, so it never really, people started trying to get up the numbers, and it was like a bit of a competition, but nothing on what it is today now, where people want to have that influence, or they want to be seen to be, get so many likes and stuff. It wasn't really like that in the early days of Facebook. It was more of a communications tool. It was almost like a chat, and it kind of went through that.
Or it's like blogging. It made blogging acceptable without being vain. So you could you tell people what you've been doing that day, and it wasn't this you weren't being a pseudo writer. Whereas we were kind of, before that, it was like, oh, you've got a blog, well then you must think yourself. It's very important. What you got to say. But it kind of normalised that whole
democratized.
Yeah.
But I think after that, it kind of went through a phase where you got kind of the bragging, didn't you? And you got kind of the people who do their baby pictures, or
the holiday pictures,
or pictures. All that sort of stuff. But now it's gone to a completely different level, where it's like Uber bragging, isn't it? It's like, people have got channels that are for influencing, and their job effectively is being seen on holiday, or being seen with a particular expensive item, or so on. And young people maybe who they can't necessarily compete with that, because there's airbrushing, there's product placement. We were talking about product placement earlier, that some of these influencers, there's a big market in influencer marketing where people are paying influencers.
Oh yeah, like 20 grand for one post
to just do a post showing their product, and products that other people maybe can't afford, and there's a pressure on to own certain items and have all the gear. If you want to watch one of our earlier podcasts. But to look a certain way, to have certain things, to have certain lifestyle. It's all a big pressure, isn't it, on young people that.
Well, they've got to convey that as well on their profiles. I was watching something interesting on BBC, and it was Nadia from the Bake Off. And she was talking about her anxiety, and she interviewed kids, and I thought it was fascinating, because I've always thought, after I finished school, thankfully smartphones weren't big until I was gone from school. Phones were in school, so you text each other and things like that, but cameras weren't really a big thing, and social media hadn't really taken off, and thankfully I was old enough to deal with that. But you've got kids on social media and they're having to like edit their own photos because they need to look a certain way.
Well, Instagram automatically gives you filters.
Yeah.
Which, you know, even though they appear to be for another purpose of maybe cartoonifying your appearance, they have the added benefit of smoothing out and making your eyes bigger, your nose smaller, and you know, part of the thing that people really great on the older generation is the when you see younger kids doing the selfies and doing the that face to hide the, and like that pose is like informed by so many anxieties. Like, you know, it's got to be elevated so that you don't see like a double chin, your eyes look bigger, you know it's like it's such a self-conscious sort of like toxic act, I think, to have a perfect sort of photo face. For me, it smacks of terrible anxiety, and it wouldn't be something I would enjoy doing. And in fact, whenever anyone takes a photo of me, I can't keep a straight face, or, you know, every single photo is ruined according to my wife, because I'm just like that, because I find it absurd to put on a mask for a photo.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
document reality.
Yeah, I just think because because it's such a big part of my like interest and pastime to try and capture something real. So for someone to then take a photo of me, it's in this pose way. Yeah, I'm like, well, just take it when I don't know you take it.
Yeah, I prefer that with like the kids. Like I'll take photos when they're playing.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'd rather because that's
not like stop what you're doing, kids, and pretend you're enjoying yourself.
Yeah.
For you know, grandma or for documenting future.
Exactly.
I remember a friend of mine saying that part of his memories of his childhood was his mum getting really frustrated because she was trying to force him to sit there with an ice cream to get a photo, and because he wasn't doing it properly, the ice cream was just melting.
That's
you know,
incredible.
and it was like, and he was just crying because
he wanted to have his ice cream.
He wanted to have his ice cream, but his mum wanted to document this lovely childlike process of him enjoying his ice cream,
which he wasn't.
Which he wasn't because of the whole, you know. So there's a lot tied up in that. And I think I don't want to be that parent.
No.
You know, and it's really interesting. But now that everyone's got a camera, I'm sure it's more prevalent that kids are forced into these fake situations.
And I mean, they're heroes now, or like YouTubers and things like that. And
exactly. Who we have no inkling of.
It's really baffling for me.
I should get old now.
I do struggle with it a little bit, and I just think, my God, I don't know how I'd cope with this at school now. I
feel like Grandpa Simpson.
Because it's like I was saying in a previous episode. It's like you go to school and you've got the anxiety of the performance of school, like dog world,
what you're wearing, whether
exactly,
whether you got the right trainers on.
But you've got to carry that on when you go home, when you leave as well, because you know it's kind of expected, isn't it? Like you all post, and you've got to keep up on the social food chain. The other thing is, what if something gets posted? This is the cyberbullying sort of stuff as well. What if you put an embarrassing picture of someone else puts an embarrassing picture of you up? It's a lot harder to sweep that under the carpet nowadays.
Well, it's impossible.
So
whereas there's probably loads of little gremlins from our past that disappeared with the day that it happened, or with like the memory of the people as soon as they forgot about it, and they were it's gone, isn't it?
Whereas that could be it's an indelible.
Exactly.
I mean, there's a school nearby to here, and they've actually changed their uniform policy, and I think it's from next year. All the kids have got to have the same coat. There's a school coat because people were going in like Canada Goose and like all these expensive type of coats that they said, like, you know, obviously some parents can't afford it, and people were getting bullied over the coats, and obviously it's all over the social media and so on. They've like enforced this coat policy. Everyone has the same coat.
Amazing. Well, do you think that's a solution, or?
No, I think not.
No, I don't think it's a solution.
It's glossing over the underlying issue, isn't it? And also, it's not reality, is it? Because as soon as these kids hit 18, they're going to be opened up to a world where everyone hasn't got the same things.
I mean,
you can't. You've got to teach people why, and to understand why they haven't, like why someone may not have, and how you should treat people with respect, no matter what they are. Not just go, everyone's got the same code.
Everyone should pretend that we're all equal.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, because there's a kind of obligation on both sides for people to learn there. The person who doesn't have the money and the person who has the money, they both got to learn. It's not the obligation necessarily of the person who does have the money to take baby steps around people that don't necessarily, because they won't when they leave.
No.
I mean, it might be thoughtful to do so, but certainly the person who doesn't have the money has to also learn that they aren't intrinsically bad because they do have money.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, or better or worse or whatever. Because and schools are supposed to be a place of learning.
Exactly. Yeah. So I just thought that was an interesting, spin on this sort of thing, really. But I suppose the key thing is that, are we giving kids the tools to really understand about the realities of this? So one of the things I watched recently, I don't know whether we discussed this before, but it's the Fire Festival thing.
Oh yeah, I was going to talk about that. Yeah.
I think it's like a classic example about how there's no substance behind what they're saying online, and like the idea that we're not really valuing substance anymore. Everything's superficial, and like how do we engage with people to get them to understand that, like, respect people who are doing something of substance rather than what's on an influencer saying. So I suppose if anyone hadn't seen the Fire Festival, just to explain that people basically watch the documentary. It's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix, and
I
think there's two.
There are two. But I mean, these guys basically made up a festival, tried to put it on within 6 weeks, and the whole scheme around it was just around getting influencers involved. And I think there was a famous rapper as well, wasn't there? As well?
It was, yeah. Was it Ja Rule? Was it
Ja Rule? Yeah. Like they were all. It was all about promoting this event that they just had no way of pulling off. People turned up. It was meant to be a luxury event, and they were getting like some kind of cheese slice between two pieces of white bread. Living in like storm. Was it storm shelters or like hurricane shelters? Yeah, but they got them from hurricane shelter, and bought a big bulk load, and they didn't even have enough of those. There was no infrastructure, but the whole thing, there was no substance to the event.
It was all behind one video, really.
And it was just what they did was they just used a video influencer marketing to hype up this event that looked on the surface, it was all legit and everything was great, and there's models involved, and there was like
you see something like that,
famous
don't you?
People.
Go, oh wow, that looks. There's no way they fake that. Like
if they've got the money to get these guys, must have been loads of money to.
Be amazing.
Underneath there was nothing, and I think that's what social media can be about. If there's nothing underlying, if there's just pictures of people pretending that they've got this certain lifestyle, the photos are airbrushed, the things that they're actually wearing are borrowed, they haven't actually got them, or the product placement cars. You've got to be aware when you're watching things that this isn't reality. Certainly for some things it's not reality. Obviously there are real life people doing real life things. I don't know, if you follow someone who's actually doing a particular job online, don't know, if you follow Brian Cox or something, he is actually doing some research as well,
it's like any tool, I suppose,
as well as looking at the stars, and doing his promotional videos and whatever else, and being
so it's a great way for people authentically to connect, and it's a great way for people to inauthentically connect.
Exactly, and you've got to be aware, haven't you?
I think it doesn't glamour, isn't it? I'm sure like glamour, which is what we're talking about, is literally a spell by a witch to make people appear younger and more beautiful, isn't it? Like, so it comes from like an ancient piece of, you know what I mean? Like
concept.
Ancient concept, of projecting something that isn't real. Yeah. So it's like it's a human thing for people to be fake, isn't it?
Yeah.
And like, because social media is just a medium, we're going to see all aspects of human personality demonstrated.
The thing is, it's so easy to fake as well, isn't it?
That's the thing, isn't it? Yeah. But I think it always has been easy to sort of fake something. I suppose it's not been that easy to convince someone that you're good looking if you're not. It's so much easier to do that on Instagram. And it's more easy to convince people that you're rich, but it has always been possible for people to pretend to be rich.
Oh yeah.
And I think the history is littered with people who got high up under complete false pretenses.
You see loads of documentaries about
So I mean,
Catch Me If You Can.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the guy, he's an expert.
So he was like a hero in a way.
Yeah.
Whereas and we kind of because it was a technical success. It's not technically difficult to do it now.
No.
So we've got more people doing it.
That's true.
But then that's the wonder of like technology. It's great because it's like democratized and made it possible for someone to produce a Hollywood level film on their phones. But it's also enabled all these people that would never really have the perseverance or intelligence to, do that before. So we're probably just seeing more of that end of the curve.
Yeah.
Getting a voice and getting seen, aren't we? So it's just like any tool, I think.
Yeah, I think there's positives and negatives. I suppose the key thing is making sure that you find someone that you can trust, and you look into what they're portraying, not just on the surface but underneath, and try and dig a bit more, and
That's where you get like catfishing and stuff.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So
and children haven't made those mistakes yet, so they're more vulnerable.
Yeah.
But I suppose to learn it, you have to make a mistake. Maybe.
Yeah. So hopefully you've enjoyed our foray into social media and anxiety, and if you've got any comments, or if these issues have affected you, then drop a comment below.
And surprisingly, we're on social media, despite having a go at it.
It's just a tool.
Yeah.
So
authentically.
Yes. Don't forget to check us out at SwiftCase UK, and also check out our website, swiftcase.co.uk.
Yeah, and please subscribe to see us post more on our social media, YouTube channel, about topics like this.
Yep. Well, thanks for listening. My name's Adam Sykes, founder of SwiftCase, the professional productivity platform, and we'll see you again next time.